I had a dream, Joe. I had a dream, Joe. You were standing in the middle of an open road. I had a dream, Joe. This society of whores stuck needles in an image of me. Where did you go, Joe? If that screw of wreckage forever at the heel of your boot.
Check. This is tape number 22, or JW's Hard Words. My name is Joe Wick. These are my stories.
On that senseless, on that demented. I opened my eyes, Joe. Your hands were raised up to the sky, and your mouth was covered.
I was a private detective in the easternmost debauched and corrupted suburbs, and stuck in the middle of a particularly difficult case: to find Von Braun's tears. I'd been sitting in the Blue Butterfly nursing my troubles with the usual sambuca on the rocks. I'm cursed. I said this with every cell of my body drowning in alcohol. A stranger perched himself on the stool next to mine. He was dressed all in black and had a nervous tick, kind of like a nervous bird. I'm JW. I don't give a flying fuck. A fly in a fuck. Fag dressing like a Brandon Lee Daffy Duck. My lips cracked into a small sneer, and the unremarkable middle-aged bartender rapped his knuckles on the metal beer cooler, focusing his unamused energy on the trophy butterfly that had long ago been pierced by a well-placed dart to be forever pinned like an exotic specimen in the musty museum bullseye of a shredded dartboard. Below the butterfly, tucked into the 1616 slot, was a note scrawled in crayon that read, "The Blue Butterfly."
Oh, the witty poet returns, waiting for a savior to pick up his soul and solve his problems. The late great Wick P.I., waiting for a miracle, waiting to unload the responsibility of his own demise on someone as useless as his dick. Well, you want to know what your problem is, Joe?
Not really.
You don't care about anything.
JW pulled the single most irritating smile in all the world. It was a smile that made me want to erase it with a cheese grater, kick him in the nuggets, and box his ears with a pair of ketchup bottles. You could say he was pushing my buttons. You could say I was getting angry.
Let's take things from the beginning. Look at yourself in the mirror, Joe. Who do you see? It's me, Joe, JW, your conscience, and I've come all this way to help you understand a few things.
I looked through the acrid smoke, past the bartender's rapping knuckles, through the greasy fingerprint smears and cigarette stains hazing the surface of the mirror, and found my reflection with JW's mouth hovering just inches from my ear. The reek of plaque on his unbrushed teeth barely masked the stale stench of alcohol sweating through his clothes. His slow, steady breathing continued in my ear for a moment too long, his head perched on my shoulder like a freak show attraction. He pointed at me in the mirror and smiled wide. That son of a bitch smiled right through me.
You weren't born a loser, Joe. No, not you. You chose to be a loser. You had a choice. You chose to be one. It might be comforting to convince yourself that you had no hand in creating this sad little life of yours, but we both know that that's just nonsense repeated like a ritual chant in order to stave off the guilt of knowing that it was you alone that has pissed away your life. You actually believe that melancholia is an honorable burden to bear, and that the whole world has simply misunderstood you. Misunderstood you because you are special. Do you want to know what you really are, though? You're a sickness, Joe. And you're contagious. You'll infect anyone unfortunate enough to breathe the same befouled air as was wasted in your lungs. You are not the center of the world. To the contrary, my friend, you are the worm that has rotted the apple from the inside out. And you're right. There's not much left for you. So if you want to at least stop the damage you've done from spreading, then take your life, Joe. Simply die. Otherwise, give up the misery act and do something kind for yourself and everyone else. Get moving. Stop whining about anyone who isn't whining like you. Stop blaming everyone else for your problems, society, past girlfriends, or whoever else you blame, and stand on your own feet. And for fuck's sake, please, 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 stop blaming the years gone by as the source of your misery. The years go by for everyone. Everyone except the dead, whether you like it or not. It doesn't matter. I'll suggest something to you. No, I'll beg you. That's what I am going to do. I'll beg you to wake up. I challenge you to finally make a decision for once in your life.
I could very easily have cried, or ordered another sambuca, or gone home to fix my life. My gaze had drifted from my distorted image in the filthy mirror to the chipped rim of my rocks tumbler. I was attempting to convince myself that there was something mystical about the melting ice, something majestic and cosmic, some meaning floating around the small gray flecks of ash that had settled on the ice cube at the top of my dwindling supply of sambuca. In that moment, I think I had an epiphany. I'd made up my mind. With lightning reflexes that I hadn't called upon in years, I drew my blood dust 732 Delta out of my holster and put a round straight between JW's eyes. The flash and thunder of the 732 ruptured my focus, and everything continued in slow motion. The bullet hit the opposite wall, and 3 of the regular drunks hunkered down in their booth and confusedly peeked around the corner. My heart jump-started as the adrenaline from the shock made its way through my booze-thinned blood, and for a split second I slipped out of the apathetic mask of stupefying self-loathing. I could feel the warmth of the muzzle flash spread from the barrel into the grip. My ears rang. The bitter smell of the spent powder burned in my nose and throat. Somewhere, from far off in the distance, raged a flood of silence that washed throughout the room. My alcohol-sputtering synapses misfired for a few moments as what my blinking eyes took in didn't match what my boiling brain expected to see. My confusion dissolved into the smoky, dimly lit picture of the blue butterfly. There was no blood. No smell of burnt hair. No shreds of flesh falling in steaming chunks onto the floor. No pinkish-white shards of skull flecked with brains embedded in the wall. It was the anticlimax that mirrored the debased cliché of my life. JW had just disappeared. I was left alone once again with the ghosts of my thoughts.
Fields turn gold. Autumn wind blows. There's nothing left but the wooden post standing blackened by the smoke. Last December, the last time I remember standing here.
Story by Satiris Babachimopoulos, translated from the Greek by Savas Morgis, adapted by Randall Holmes, Savas Morgis, Doug Wilkin, additional writing and dialogue by Doug Wilkin, Joe Wick, voiced by Aaron Weiner, additional voices by William Byron Brazington and Josie Johnson, directed by Savas Morgis, sound designer Doug Wilkin, produced by Randall Holmes and recorded at Cave Sound Studio. This has been a Lightly Toasted Butterfly production.